Every single gun owner and two-way supporter should care about Measure 114.
This is the most extreme gun control measure in the country, or at least one of the most extreme. It will virtually eliminate firearm sales in Oregon.
A push to convince Oregon voters to pass one of the strictest gun laws in the nation.
If passed, the ballot measure would extend beyond background checks and require any Oregonian who purchases a weapon to have a permit, take safety courses, and be registered in a new database overseen by the Oregon State Police.
Measure 114 will require local law enforcement agencies to create and fund a firearm permit process out of local budgets. It will move very scarce law enforcement resources away from protecting our communities to doing backgrounds and issuing permits. This is at a time when property and violent crime is skyrocketing, and law enforcement staffing in Oregon is already one of the lowest in our nation.
The measure also bans firearms that can hold more than 10 rounds at a time. Those who use firearms for hunting have also voiced opposition. Amy Patrick is policy director at the Oregon Hunters Association. She has concerns that Measure 114 is taking already established background checks and safety courses and making them more complicated by making people take a safety course and register in a state database when purchasing a gun.
That addition in there effectively rules out a lot of the concealed carry license permits as counting as one of these approved firearms training courses.
We are all about the responsible firearms owner, but quite honestly, it will have no effect on criminal activity.
People think because the Supreme Court ruled that New York's concealed carry law was unconstitutional, that we somehow won the war against the Second Amendment. I assure you, we have not. Did we win a major battle? Absolutely. But if you for 1 second thought the anti-gun lobby and their bought and paid for politicians were just gonna stop trying to restrict gun rights into oblivion, you're more naive than a rich sugar daddy who believes his sugar baby is in love with him. These are the same people who try to tell you that the Second Amendment is about hunting. You know, the amendment that has 27 words, none of which remotely mention hunting. They clearly don't care what the Second Amendment says. And if they don't care what the Constitution says, what makes you think they care what the Supreme Court says? They say all they want is common sense gun laws. Where is the common sense in requiring a license to purchase a gun when you already have to get a background check every time you buy a gun? Where is the common sense in limiting the law-abiding to 10 rounds when the vast majority of self-defense guns come standard with more than 10 rounds? You just ban the majority of guns at that point. Where is the common sense in adding another $300 to $500 to the cost of owning a gun for protection? That doesn't hurt the criminal. They steal guns. That doesn't hurt the rich. They have money. It hurts the poor. And they need the guns the most because they live in dangerous neighborhoods because they can't afford to live anywhere else. There's no common sense here. There's no reasonableness here. This is punishment for wanting to protect yourself and not relying exclusively on the government. This is political mob-style extortion. Either take my protection or pay me more money to protect yourself. But now you have to protect yourself from not only the criminals, but also from the government. Because I'm going to make the law so confusing and hard to follow, the moment you even seem like you're breaking it, I'm going to throw you in jail. The gun lobby has been playing this game for a long time. They know what they're doing. They know if they can get Measure 114 passed in Oregon, it'll set a precedent for all the other states in this country. These types of measures are financed by big money, and they attack from every single angle. They try to pass laws on not only the state level, like they're trying to do here, but also on the federal level. They bring frivolous lawsuits against the gun industry in order to bankrupt them and then cause them to go out of business. They create AstroTurf groups with amorphous names like Moms Demand Action or Everytown, which are nothing more than anti-two-way groups designed to trick people who don't know any better into believing they are an anti-violence group, but in reality are groups that were funded by megalomaniac anti-two-way billionaires doing their bidding to gain more control by disarming the people. They attack the two-way on the culture side by indoctrinating the young people in school to feel like they don't need the Second Amendment because the government will protect them, just like the government protected the kids in Uvalde, right? As gun owners and two-way advocates, we don't get the luxury of rest because the people who want to restrict your rights never rest. They are relentless. The moment the Supreme Court ruling came down, they literally called emergency meetings just to come up with new ways to get around the ruling. They'll call a special session just to restrict your rights, but won't call a special session to improve your rights. That should tell you everything you need to know about these anti-gun politicians. Gun control is not about protecting you. It's about the government protecting its control over you. And for all of you living in Oregon, you need to get out and vote against Measure 114 because the implications of it passing will not only affect Oregon, but the nation. And if you're wondering where I got this awesome defund gun control hat and the I am the militia shirt, it's at shop.mrcolionnoir.com. We're gonna have a link in the description section. However, there's also, if you're watching this on a computer, right below this video, you should see images of these actual hat and shirt that I'm wearing right now. And if you're watching this on the phone, if you look where the share button is, right next to it, it has a shop button. If you push that button, it'll take you straight to where you can get this hat and this I am the militia shirt. But before you do any of that, make sure you go and hit the subscribe button. And when you hit the subscribe button, it'll turn into a bell. And when that bell is hit, it'll drop down the menu. It'll say all, hit the all button, and you're good to go. Now you get every single notification every single time I drop a video, instead of some of the times, or in some cases, never of the times. So head over to shop.mrcolionnoir.com to get your awesome merch today. And also be sure to leave a comment, like, and again, subscribe.